Hello everyone, Maryann here, revealing light, tarot, astrology and spirituality wherever you are in the world. When you're watching, a big shout out to you. Thank you all for your likes, your comments, your subscriptions. It does help the channel grow, and I'm very grateful for that. When you're watching this, if you could hit that like button, that also allows the video to go a little bit further. Okay, let's get started today. I just want to rewind a little bit to my last reading. If you remember, I saw a clairvoyant ship emerge out of, well, actually it was emerging out of the fog, and I said something to do with the ship becomes very important. Within about 24 hours, I guess, the US announced it had sent its main aircraft carrier ship to the Middle East. And obviously that was a signal that we are prepared to go to war with Iran. The G7 was interesting. Yes, the members of the G6, I guess, were very united against Trump, and he left the meeting very early. He didn't meet with Prime Minister Anthony Albanese over AUKUS. However, Anthony Albanese certainly got some mileage at the G7 because he announced a security and defence deal has been brokered with none other than the EU. Australia might be a small country, but it has a very well equipped, in terms of military power, army, and it ranks 5th in the Asia region. It's equivalent to the fighting power of the military, I guess, power of the Ukraine. And of course, we know Ukraine's military is quite advanced due to the massive amount of help that it's had from the US under the former President Biden. So we have something to gain, I'm an Australian, from an EU partnership, defence partnership, at this time when our alliances are, I guess, fragmented to say the least under the current US government. And the EU has something to gain as well, given the good standing of Australia's military. We have fought alongside Europe and the UK and Canada in both world wars, and then beyond that as well. So it seems like it's a good fit in these troubled times, particularly a good plan B if the Trump American government chooses to basically rob us. If they pull out of AUKUS, we've already paid nearly $1 billion, and leave us vulnerable without a submarine capability. We are looking at our plan B. So in a way, Albanese was able to trump the situation, even though Trump didn't meet with him. Interesting to see how this deal with the EU, this defence pact with the EU, pans out for Australia. Okay, let's move on now. I've been doing a lot of reading, thinking, intuiting over the last few days, trying to get to the bottom of the war. The war between Israel and Iran, and where the US fits, and of course where subsequently we all fit into this. So I've got some pretty hard questions to ask today of my clairvoyance and also of the tarot. I also want to hone in on the President of the US's health. I posted a photo today of his hand, which is visibly swollen. There's concealer on it, makeup, in other words, brown concealer makeup. And there appears to be either where a cannula has been put or some kind of IV medication given. And so, given that he's fallen asleep at the G7, I can't believe that there's just silence from the lamestream media, the non-independent media, the dependent media. He fell asleep at the G7, fell asleep at the Pope's funeral, he fell asleep at his own parade. I'm not saying that he has cancer. I don't know what's wrong with him, but when you are ill, and I'm speaking from experience, there's a high level of fatigue that goes with it. I know his age as well. So I believe that he has a serious health issue, and it's one that everybody is ignoring. We'll drill down on that as well. The truth always comes out in the end. Okay, let's get going. Also have Rocky in here today. What do? Do you want to go out, Rocky? If I open the door and that dog just stares looking into the space, I will... Let's see. He wants something. I'll just open... Oh, what do you want, Rocky? No, I'll leave him. Okay. All right, let's get started today. Go sit down somewhere. You wanted in and now you're flip-flopping around. Okay. All right. Does the vested interests want regime change in Iran? I think that's we can say yes. There are some vested interests that want Ayatollah Khomeini gone. They're talking about putting the last Shah of Iran's eldest son in there, which is absolutely ridiculous. That's not going to fly. 92 million, as Tucker Carlson told us. If you haven't watched his interview with Ted Cruz, you should. It's hilarious. It's another case of the enemy of my enemy is my friend. He really put Cruz on the spot. There's 92 million people in Iran. They're not going to accept a puppet of Israel and the US's. I'm sorry, but that's a definite no. What could be happening, though, is if you recall through an election, they chose a new president who was far more progressive than we've seen in Iran in decades. So that if Ayatollah Khomeini steps aside, then you get regime change that way. But do they want regime change in Israel? That is the big question, because Netanyahu is such a liability. Who would be wanting this? Of course, the Gulf states. Where was Trump in his probably only overseas visit? Went to the Gulf states. Where are his business interests? In the Gulf states. Netanyahu is a liability to peace in the Middle East, given that they want to develop the Middle East. The Gulf states, I'm just putting through some logic before we ask the question, have to manage their own Muslim and Arab and Persian populations, and their what can I say, abhorrence, more than abhorrence, deep-seated rage, I guess, about what is happening in Gaza. Over 50,000 innocent people killed by Israel. People starving. There's a genocide going on there. So, there is a anti-Netanyahu faction in Israel as well. So, is this, I'm not going to say orchestrated, I don't want to put it like that, but is this being done to achieve regime change? We're going to ask that question because Trump has authorised an attack but has held off on the final order. He's also spoken to Putin as well. The Russians don't seem at all concerned about this war, given that they have a defence pact with Iran. Why is that? Do they know something that we don't know? So we're going to go down that Trump-Putin relationship and the Gulf states as well. And then I'll finally ask a straight-out question where there's no I guess, global puppeteers involved is the intention to take US to war with Iran, because we'll soon sort the wheat from the chaff, as they say. And then I want to focus on Trump's health. So a reasonably, I won't say simple reading today, but let's get started. All right. Do the vested interests, and I'm talking Gulf states, the movers and shakers in the US that pull strings, and we know there are those that are wanting, this whole techno revolution can't be done in the Middle East with so much violence. We've got data, AI chips, data centers over there in the Gulf countries. The vested interests, Spirit, what can you show me about these? Okay, so Ayatollah Khomeini is here. He came out of his tent in the last reading. A tent is a metaphor. He wouldn't be in a tent. But he came out of what looked like a tent and spoke. And he did do that. He's addressed the nation. I think they do want a regime. They want a regime change in Iran away from orthodox, that kind of orthodox. They want a more liberal regime in Iran. Has nothing to do with being Israel's friend, because I think they want a regime change in Israel, but we'll ask the question. Okay. Can you show me Netanyahu? Do they want a regime change? Let's ask. Do they want a regime change in Israel as well? Because the bombs are just falling. They're getting through the Iron Dome. And I saw a scuffle between the two right-wing cabinet ministers in Israel. Why did you want to go and attack people descending upon them? Why did you want to attack Iran? Look what's happening to us. Okay, do they want a regime change in Israel? They want to close the door on something, because I'm seeing that. Do they want a regime change in Israel? Do the vested interests want a regime change in Israel? Do they want Netanyahu gone? Do vested interests want Netanyahu gone? Because this is the other piece of the puzzle. I'm pretty sure they want Khomeini gone too. The Queen of Swords, objectivity and stability. They can't have that with Netanyahu. And the Ace of Swords, yeah. Okay. Using the New Vision Tarot. So these are the signifier cards. It's the truth about their objectivity. It's the truth about their stability. We have the devil at the foundation here, toxicity. That's usually around money. When I opened up for this reading, the pendulum is actually a gold coin, and it's swinging. And of course, we've got crypto interests as well. And so what is driving this is money. And if you follow the money down, you will always get to the truth. The lovers are in the past. Okay, so relationships are in the past. Good relationships. It's no longer possible to have a good relationship with Israel, even after, if they get Iran under control. That's not going to fly because of Gaza, not in the Muslim world. They want stability. They do want stability. Okay, so financial stability too. Again, the money. They can't develop the Middle East unless there's peace there. The magician is manifestation, but also manipulation as well. So there are strings being pulled behind these scenes, just as George Bush, who wasn't the President Bush, wasn't the brightest, most sharpest tack in the knife in the drawer, or whatever that saying is, fell for Netanyahu's been saying Iran has nuclear weapons since the 1990s. His own intelligence chief, Tulsi Gabbard, said in March they weren't close to developing a nuclear weapon. So this whole, we don't want them to have a nuclear weapon, is obviously a weapons of mass destruction type of con. Okay, the magician. They do, having said that, they do want regime change in Iran. But we're talking about, sorry about that, we're talking about Israel right now. So the Ten of Cups, families and control. The Emperor controlling something. I noticed that Israel won't let its citizens leave. A lot of them are taking boats. The Emperor and the Eight of Coins, money loss, walking away from what no longer serves us in the hopes and fears. He's costing them money. And then we get the Knight of Coins, stability. It's a yes card. That's in the outcome. They want stability, financial. They want stability in the Middle East, and that equates is the same thing as financial stability. And we've got the Tower card, which is a complete restructure. And then we get the Queen of Cups. Okay, so decision time and crossroads time here. And the Seven of Coins. The plan A doesn't work, so plan B will. Oh, they've got a plan B here. Moderation and temperance. So I'm going to say that the reason that the bombs are allowed to fall on Tel Aviv and Haifa is to actually sow a seed against Netanyahu's government. The only one that can remove Netanyahu, of course, is the Israeli people. But I see moderation linked to economic interests in the Middle East. Peace, they need peace. They don't need a warmonger as a president. They were yes cards, and the Tower brings about lightning quick change and restructure. We could also see Netanyahu having to step aside at some point. Okay, all right, let's have a look at Iran. Now, this is kind of like a lay down misère. That's a saying. It's a card game, and it's a hand where it's absolutely guaranteed of winning. I think they do want regime change in Iran. So, do they want regime change in Iran? So I'm seeing the decision's already been made. Okay, I'm seeing the crossroads. Rocky, please. Apologies. I see he's licking himself and he swallows a furball. I see the Two of Swords, and one sword is being disengaged from the next. In other words, the decision has already been made. Do they want regime change in Iran? Do the vested interests, of which Trump is a puppet master, do they want regime change in... Now that wanted to come out in Iran. The Hierophant. Yeah. Actually, it's like the religious... They don't want a religious fundamentalist leading Iran. They can't have that. Okay, do they want regime change in Iran? And all this being said, so we've got the Three of Swords, we get betrayal. Do it affect that and circles of support? Now, let's just say that their plans may not go, it may not go to their plan. That because there are all sorts of geopolitical forces from all sides coming here. Someone is betrayed by three people. To remove Ayatollah Khomeini, it has to come from within Iran. They're not going to be able to topple Khomeini at all. It has to come from within the people of Iran. And we get the Eight of Coins, walking away from what no longer serves us. Queen of Cups in the past. Khomeini has been a fairly bloody regime. There we go. Stability. Stability in the Middle East adds up, equates with financial security. There's the Two of Swords. So that's in the immediate future position. I think there's a decision here that they will make fairly soon. The The Seven of Pentacles in the present. If one plan doesn't work, another will. And the Nine of Coins. There's financial vested interests here. The Wheel of Fortune in the hopes and fears. Yes. And then the Five of Cups. Death. Death, loss. What's happening in Iran? People are dying. And then we get Justice here. And the King of Wands, bravery. I don't think this is going to plan. And the Three of Wands, waiting for one ship to come in. There are people within Iran that would betray the Ayatollah Khomeini, absolutely. It's not set in stone yet. I don't think they can accomplish that just yet. Something else is in the mix here. The Six of Coins, debt, loans, debt, and money here. At the base of the pack is the Sun and the Devil. Who is the Devil that we see? It's beyond Trump because, well, it's Trump and et al., all of the above. But there are many forces, corrupt forces operating in this world of ours. It's not certain that that Khomeini regime change will work. Okay, I just want to say that I saw more certainty around Netanyahu, a change in Israel, than I did in Iran. Okay, so maybe that plan might backfire. I do feel Khomeini will at some point step aside and the president of Iran will take control. That's where I think it's going. But I don't think it's an imposed bringing the Shah or last Shah of Iran's son back. That's not going to work. There is something here, for those that are plotting that, there's something here that they don't yet see. There's a piece of the chessboard that they don't yet see. And I wonder if that is China. China sent a military carrier aircraft into Iran yesterday. Okay, so, well, the next question is, will there be another country pulled into this? Okay, beyond the US. Will a third country be pulled into this beyond the US? Will a third country, and I wonder who that would be. Will a third country, that's a question, it's only a question of time. Will a third country be pulled into the Middle East war at this time, the Iran-Israel war? Will a third country be pulled in? Okay, the Ten of Wands, which is a no, but then we have a ship coming in. So they're closing that strait there, stopping the oil ships from coming in, that Iran controls. Hormuz, the Strait of Hormuz. The Queen of Coins, security, financial security. We've got the Star, hope in the past. The Wheel of Fortune. This is interesting. The King of Coins, of course, pardon me, is my card for Trump, but it's also protecting one's business interests. The Ten of Swords, downfall in the environment, and the Three of Cups, circles of support. I think there's a third country coming in. Queen of Cups, I haven't got to the outcome yet. The outcome is the Two of Coins, be patient, something coming to fruition in time. And we've got wounded retreat. And the Seven of Wands, defending oneself. So here's what I think will happen. If there is too much damage done in Iran, if they hit those nuclear reactors, Israel crosses a line somewhere along the line, and that brings a third country, not the US, into this mix. You see how volatile that whole region is. Now we get to the US. Well, is Trump doing... Look, first of all, let's go back to the vested interests. Is Trump doing Putin and the Gulf states bidding? So this would be who he would be talking to, as well as business interests in the US and elsewhere. Let's see, is Trump doing Putin and the Gulf states bidding? Saudi Arabia comes to mind. Remember, he struck a deal with Qatar as well, something to do with Gaza when he was there. Well, that's what I saw. Okay, so is Trump doing Putin and the Gulf states bidding in the Middle East? So it means that he wouldn't be doing Netanyahu's. Justice and the Eight of Wands. The Ten of Wands, it's, he's been called out, obviously, in his own country. The Eight of Swords, restriction. The Chariot, things moving very, very quickly. The immediate, endings and new beginnings. Queen of Wands in the here and now. The Knight of Wands. Pardon me, has to deal with a lot of dissension, competing interests within his own country. The Ace of Cups in the hopes and fears, with an upside down triangle in it. Of course, is the elemental sign for water. Emotions, emotional reset. Queen of Coins, yep. Three of Coins, yep. 3 people, 3 countries. And the Nine of Cups, wish fulfillment. There is no doubt. There is no doubt. If you want to know what's going to happen in the Middle East, you go to what would benefit Saudi Arabia, Russia, other Gulf countries, Trump's own business interests. Look at this, the Chariot. But the unknown thing here in the mix is things could get out of control and not the plan may go belly up. The Queen of Coins, protecting our finance stability. 3 of Coins, building, rebuilding something, wish fulfillment. These are all very, very, very strong yes cards. And then we get the Star, whose hopes is he fulfilling? Yeah. So his own business interests. It's money. Follow that pendulum and you'll get the correct answer. All right, now, okay. Will Trump, I'm going to ask again because I got a no before, will Trump take the US into war? Will Trump take the US into war to help? Okay. Will Trump take the US into war with... Will Trump take the US into war with Iran? Will Trump take Iran into will Trump take the US into direct... will Trump directly attack Iran? Will Trump take the US into a direct attack on Iran? Imagine that. There's something to do with his planes. The Two of Wands, something that comes to... Sorry, that the other card there was... He was juggling something. Competing interests. Okay, so I just want to correct that. The Two of Wands, something coming to fruition in time, and the Tower. I don't like the look of this. Circles of support. A secret that we don't know about. The Page of Swords, betrayal, can be betrayal. And then we get the King of Cups. The Chariot, things getting out of control. And the Two of Cups, deals being made. And the Knight of Cups, an offer, a peace offer. And then victory. Okay. There he is, victory for him. It's a victory for him. But we get isolation and having to defend himself. So the Hermit is not an automatic yes card. He gets a victory for his own interests. The Seven of Swords, lies and deceit. I'm going to do a clarify here, because what I feel is happening here is that he gets a victory for his own interests. Is this taking... It's definitely a change from last time. He may be forced to stage some kind of... Okay, we'll fly something over. It's like America's not going to engage. I don't get the feeling that he's going to engage in a full-scale war. I think he's still hedging. There's still something. So it's a win for him. So if he does, it's the end for him. You know, with his base, with everything. That's how his presidency will be remembered. Another weapons of mass destruction thing. He doesn't want that. Show me, will he take... He wants a victory for his business interests. Okay, will Trump take... What am I seeing here? The Five of Wands. Sorry, the Five of Wands is... No. Sorry? No. I thought that was the Six of Wands. I don't know why. I'm... probably because I haven't got my glasses on. Okay, Five of Wands. They're downstairs. No, he's not taking the US in. Is this correct? He's not taking the US in. No. Nope. 10. The Wheel of Fortune and Five of Pentacles. And the Jester of Gardens, which is the Page of Pentacles. No, he's not taking the US in. He's not taking the US into a direct confrontation. My feeling is that there may be some kind of aerial thing. Maybe he helps Israel over the skies of Israel. Sends some jets in there to help. I don't know. He's going to help defend, but he's not going to attack. He's not sending his own military in to attack Iran. You're not going to see... I don't think you're going to see full-scale US confrontation with Iran. That's what I'm seeing now. Whether that will change. Now let's get on to his health, because this is a fairly long reading. Okay. So that was a no. That was a Five of Wands, and that was a no. He has competing interests, and it's not in his business interests to take America into war with Iran. But he will do more to defend Israel. It involves an aerial, pretty much like what they did with the Yemen thing. He's going to be very measured, or maybe not with the Yemen, but maybe helping to defend Israel in some way, because he knows it would explode if he does enter the war. Okay. All right, so no, I don't see it yet. Okay, but he can't also let Israel take on too much collateral damage. So there's that. Okay, so let's go to his health. He's got a swollen arm, and the makeup on his hand looks like a cannula was in place there. Does Trump have major health issues? Does Trump have major health issues? Does Trump have major health issues? The Hanged Man. Suspending, pausing something. Is he going to have to take some time out? And stability, or lack of it. There's no stability there. No stability. His something to do with his instability in his body, within his body. Like he's not stable on his feet, and he has to sit down a lot. So look to when he's standing and when he's sitting, of course, he's sleeping. Page of Wands. We're going to hear something soon on this. Is he going to have to take some time out? The Nine of Pentacles. The Nine of Pentacles is in the past. Having everything that he needs is in the past. Abuse of power, but sabotage as well. Who is he abusing? He does. The Ace of Swords is in the immediate future. We're going to hear about this soon. The Eight of Wands is, I think someone's working on a story somewhere about his health. And the environment around is struggling. He's struggling. He's struggling big time right now. The Wheel of Fortune is change in the hopes and fears. And we have the Three of Cups. Circles of support. It's odd, isn't it? They accused those around Biden of covering up his health problems, but they're doing the same thing with Trump. And we get Four of Wands and the Ten of Coins, his family. He does have absolutely quite a serious health problem. It could also be affecting his heart, but his stability, his actual physical stability. And we get a decision having to be made, and then we get justice and karma coming into the mix. Health, abundance, new starts, the truth, objectivity, and we get the Four of Swords, wounded in battle. The Seven of Swords, they're lying. They're lying about his health. Okay, there's a deal being done. Okay, and the Queen of Wands. There is a deal already being done. I don't see him doing a full term. He has a serious health issue. He's falling asleep everywhere. There's no excuses for that. He is very unwell. Trump is very unwell. Okay, you're going to hear about it soon because somebody's working on something. They have some kind of evidence here. A lot going on, isn't there, in this world of ours? Multi-layered world of ours. Okay, take care, everyone. Bye for now.